The Cowboys went to the Meadowlands and kicked the crap out of the Jets 37-22, and it wasn't even that close. And right now, not only is Dak playing at a great level, but Brian Schottenheimer is completely locked in. For the Cowboys, now full disclosure, as I tell on everyone, I am an Eagles fan, so do with this as what you may. But the Cowboys, they ran a completely balanced offense. They were out there running the ball, passing it. Schottenheimer's play calling has continued to get better and better as the season has gone on. And the fact that they're doing this without CeeDee Lamb shows exactly why, A, they wanted George Pickens, and B, they're just unlocking every part of this offense. Javonte Williams has been a huge factor for them. In this game, he ended up with 135 rushing yards. He's been very good throughout the season, really adding like an extra level, kind of what they wanted Dowdle to do, but with more speed. And you saw it right before half, up 17-3. They handed off on the inside zone, and it just went off for 68 yards. Just a great, I don't think they thought it was going to work that well, but clearly with no timeouts, they thought they saw something in the Jets where that play would work and get what they wanted, and Javonte was just out. And so the scheme has just been cooking. Pickens just, again, this game he had 100 yards again. Receiving, he's just 135. Can't read my handwriting, sorry. But Pickens went crazy as well, and Dak is just running the offense to perfection. I mean, they found Flournoy. I don't even know who that guy is in the slot, but he was just cooking. And every route right now, Dak is just hitting him accurately. He's just out there running through progressions, making plays. This offense is completely locked in. And for defenses, the thing is Dak is cooking, but the problem is Schottenheimer is a run-first guy normally, so they're not losing their identity where they would sometimes in the past. They're remaining balanced. And to do this for both Schottenheimer and Dak, doing this with the offensive line missing 4 out of 5 of their starters, very impressive stuff. And obviously no CeeDee Lamb. They just look like they didn't miss a beat. Now, the Jets do stink. The Jets are, I believe, the worst team in the league. But we've seen the Cowboys offense last week do this to the Packers. They had 30 3/4 against the Jets. Like, it was just an unstoppable machine. And 23 of them came before half. They really started throttling down after half, and then they were like, all right, Dak, you can throw some touchdowns. Throw a touchdown. But that entire offense was locked in. But obviously for Cowboys fans, what's been happening this year is you have the best offense and the worst defense. However, in this game, were they improving? Now, the Cowboys defense stinks at everything. And in this game, Breece Hall did get 100 yards rushing on them, but they were slowing them down kind of enough. And defensively, they were getting a lot of pressure on Justin Fields whenever he threw the ball. Coming into this week, they had 4 sacks. This week, they ended up with 5. A lot more stunts. Odabuke at D tackle, he started off by making a play. James Houston, he has started to kind of come along and make a lot of plays since they've gotten him. Another sack for him in this game. The pressure was flying, and Fields, even when he wasn't getting sacked, was just running for his life under pressure. It also seemed like, too, the secondary played a lot better this week. But again, it's the Jets, so we don't know what was really open and what Justin Fields could actually hit. But defensively, they held him to 6 points in those 3 quarters when it was actually a game. It was impressive. They were flying. They were hitting. They put in a guy who forced a fumble. I forget his name. But number 35 came in, and he forced a huge fumble for them as well. And that was a cool story because Eberflus said he's the best forced fumble guy on the team, and he came in and popped one out against Breece Hall. And that was a huge play because the Jets were driving, and it was looking close, 10-3. And the Jets were getting it to be that lower scoring game they wanted, and the Cowboys shut them down and made a play. So if you can get that kind of defense with what the offense is doing right now, with the Cowboys, the question really is are they playoff contenders? So far this year, they've beaten the bad teams, right? And the Jets and the Giants. They've lost to the good team, to a good team in the Eagles. They haven't beaten the bad teams. They did lose to the Bears. We still know what the Bears are, but I wouldn't call them a good team. and they tied with the Packers. That Bears game was just CD went out in the middle of the game. That one was a different kind of game because they had to adjust on the fly rather than a week of preparation. But again, since then, their offense has put up 40 and 37 when they know CD isn't playing. So when they get him back, because now they're making Pickens number one, and they now have completely unlocked him. The offense is going crazy right now. The defense had been terrible, but if they can just be like okay or average, this could be a playoff team. And I gotta say, like, Dak is playing at a level of one of the best quarterbacks in the league. I'm not gonna call him the best. I think playoffs have something to do with that. But right now, at this current moment, you could argue he's an MVP candidate for sure, especially with the worst defense in the league. However, they need more wins for that to hold to validity and some weight against good teams. And unfortunately, even though I think it kind of saved their season, a tie against the Packers is not a win. Now, coming up next week, they play the Panthers. That could be a feel-good one. It's an interesting schedule. Panthers, Commanders, Broncos. They're playing teams right at that line that they're at for that playoff spot. So we'll see if they really can put it together. Specifically with the Panthers, I think they're going to beat the Panthers, but that Commanders game with Jaden in there, that's going to be a crazy game. Because a lot of people were telling me they thought the Cowboys were better than the Commanders. So I'm interested in that game and who they think will win. But for the Cowboys, they righted the ship. Big win, dominating win against the Jets. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this team, if they can be playoff contenders going forward.